Welcome to Caregivers Connection. Of course, I'm Sharon Kelly, and I'm your host each and every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. right here on Comcast Cable Channel 96. This morning, we have a very exciting show for you. It's our very own Mr. Sam Terry from WMOO, our program director. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning to you, Sharon. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, knowing I got you in the house.
You're too kind.
I'm telling you, I just think back on when I started out. You were one of the first individuals that gave me an opportunity and a chance to talk about what I wanted to do with the community. And that was so many years ago, but that's enough about me. Now I want to know something about you. For those that don't know who Sam Terry is, will you please give them a little history about you?
Okay, I'll try to give a quick bio. But first of all, I have to say, yes, our relationship does go back quite a few years because I had the opportunity to program at a corporate radio station some years ago, over 10 years ago now.
Longer than that.
Yeah, well, I said over
about
10.
1999.
And you want to inform the community about dementia and Alzheimer's and all that. And that's how we first met. So, we met with you serving the community, and we've been friends ever since. But a quick history, and I would want to thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
But a quick bio, a history of myself. As you know, my name's Sam Terry. I'm program director at WNOO, Glory 1260, Clear Media. The only black-owned radio station in the city of Chattanooga and Hamilton County. One of the few in the state of Tennessee. There's black format stations, but as you well know, it's black-owned by Mr. Lee and Mrs. Jeanette Clear. So it's an honor and a privilege to be able to work for people who are entrepreneurs, but also committed to the community. Being a program director, I've been in radio, oh my God, almost 30 years.
Wow, a long time.
Yes, a good long while. And being in mid-management or in management and programming, so many different responsibilities come along with that, because a lot of people say, oh, you spin records and talk. Of course, I'm the host of Community Awareness, our community affairs program that we have on every day at WNOO. But it entails a lot, but it's a labor of love. You put in hours and you program and you get involved in the community, and that's the best part about it. Being a vessel, I like to say. I thank God to be a vessel, because with community awareness in particular, the name of the program, Community Awareness. Now, this program was created before I became involved with WNOO, with the former management and ownership. So it kind of just was a continuation, but it has evolved some, and we like to think of community awareness, as the name says, helping the community be aware of issues that are concerning them. But there's also some entertainment sometimes. Most folks don't want to be comedians, so I might crack a stale joke here or there.
Just to keep them interested, right?
Well, I'm still trying to get that 15 minutes of fame too. But
I love it.
But I might crack a joke here and there, and we might have some entertainers or celebrities come on from time to time. But the majority of it is about helping inform the community and help them be aware. And with that said, you want to make sure that you're giving credible information.
Correct.
You want to make sure that you're giving information that you've researched. Hopefully get more than one source to back up that information, because you don't want to just give misinformation.
Right.
You want to give information that is credible to help the listeners be informed. And that's where the community aspect comes in at. Now, it is, and I think a lot of people don't understand, commercial radio is a business, first and foremost.
Right.
WNOO is unique in it being the heritage station here in the Chattanooga community. It's been the only black formatted station for 50 plus years. That makes it a heritage station. But it's a business first, and a lot of people don't understand that. I know if I say that to you.
But I think sometimes maybe what it is that people are so used to giving that they don't understand that bills has to be paid. Correct. In order to have that business there. And that's one good reason why I wanted to talk to you today, because this weekend is a weekend that we call Black Friday, on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is this coming Thursday. And then we have Small Business Saturday. And so many times we as retailers in the African American community think it's time for us to shop as well. So a lot of our businesses are closed in the biggest day of the year when you're supposed to make a profit. And the reason why it's called Black Friday, from my understanding, is when you think about that accountant. And when
come out of the red.
There you go. There you go. You know, and that's where it came from back in the 1960s. See, I've done my research.
Yes, you have.
Okay. It is so
incredible
much
information.
Yes, and I'm hearing this year that Macy's, the store that actually started Black Friday, is now going to be opening up on Thursday.
Wow.
So what do you think about that?
Personally, myself, I don't like the idea. If we think of Thanksgiving, first and foremost, as a believer and follower of Christ, you know, we're to give thanks every day.
That's correct.
But this is an opportunity where folks get time off of work and, you know, they tie in, and I'm a history buff, and I try to get accurate history and research as much as I can and understand about the Puritans and Pilgrims and all that. And
what really happened.
Well, that's a whole nother
There's
show. We don't have enough time for
we
that.
Can't tell them. They better look it up.
It's great. I encourage any and everybody to get accurate history, accurate information. But with that said, you know, understand the secular tie-in, if you will. And I say secular kind of loosely. It's not necessarily secular, but it doesn't have to be a total biblical perspective, because, you know, we can be thankful for having neighbors and think about the Native Americans welcoming these new people to this new land with open arms and teaching them how to survive and eat. So, you know, they had the harvest and all that and giving thanks. So that's a beautiful thing. Let the families get together. You got time off of work. Enjoy that. That's a beautiful thing. Now you're putting this whole retail aspect into it, as if there isn't enough already with the Black Friday. You have folks lining up at the store, camping out,
5 o'clock,
sleeping bags,
a.m.
hold my spot, girl, you know, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to say on Thursday, when this is a day that we are recognizing as a day for folks to get together and give thanks and just enjoy one another. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't participate in Black Friday. I ain't participating in Black Thanksgiving Thursday.
No.
That's my way of combating that, if you will.
That's
you
true.
know, everybody has their own choice, their own way to deal with things and go about it. But I'm just not going to participate. So you won't be getting any green dollars, black dollars, or none of that from Brother Sam on Thanksgiving or that Friday.
I mean, I know for Mocha, a lot of people have been saying, are we going to be open on that Thursday? And my answer is the same as yours. No, I think that's a day to be at home with family. And that's where I want to be. And if you want to go somewhere else, Chattanooga, that's fine. But I'm going to be at home with my family, my grandchildren. But with that being said, a lot of times what I said at first, with us as business owners, a lot of times you don't find us open on Black Friday. And with that being the largest day that people normally do business, it should be something that we should do in our community as well, to make sure our small businesses are recognized to go do business with them, as well as running out to Hamilton Place. It's not wrong with it,
no,
but a lot of us are throwing sales too as well. And I feel like that you and I and all the other people that's on the air each and every week should encourage that.
Yeah, I agree, and I love, I know we're going to be talking about it a little later, about Small Business Saturday. That's another way to really participate and enhance that. You're supporting small businesses and Black businesses so that you are spending time on Thanksgiving Thursday with your family. And you can still spend that time on Friday, then Saturday, when a lot of people are off of work and they do their running around and stuff, putting some emphasis, putting some highlight on Black businesses and small businesses, to go out and support those businesses. You know, one thing that I do, Sharon, and trust me, I'm not this wealthy individual. But you know, I'm a normal means.
Right.
You know, I don't make a whole lot of money, but I try to go out to a Black restaurant at least once a month. Just, you know, showing some support. You know, usually gonna go eat after church on Sunday, me and my wife. So, you know, at least once a month, let's go to a Black establishment.
Because what you're doing, you're enhancing your community through economic development. You know, the majority of us who still can stay in business, and we can start sharing our dollars in order to build our businesses. And a lot of times I don't understand, if people really understand how business works. I got a chance to interview a young lady on last year this time, and already she's out of business. And I remember that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really focusing on it. And it's hard work. There's nothing easy about being in business. Some people think it is until they get in it, and then they fail because they don't realize that it's taxes to be paid, employees to be paid, as well as employee taxes, sale taxes due to be paid. And for you guys, you have to pay to be on the airwaves. There's nothing free about coming in here with something on a notebook paper saying announce this for me today. I mean, you have to do it. And one of the reasons why I am and have been on WNOO since 2009 is because I wanted to show love to an African American business. I know everybody can't do that, and I'm not saying they can't, but if you can, share what you got.
You make a good point though, Sharon, because I know that there are enough folks who can afford to do businesses or do more business with black businesses than they do. So then if you look at the pool of people that can afford to, and you look at the pool of people who are on a different economic level, and if everybody is doing that, these black businesses will survive. You know what they said, because you made another good point about what it takes to be in business. EPB, they want their money when it's time to keep the lights on in order for a radio station or a restaurant and music lounge to stay on. Payroll has got to be met. You know, these things don't change or don't stop. So we have to be mindful of that. And that's not to say that you wouldn't go to a mainstream outlet to promote your event or get your word out. But at the same time, if you're spending $100 on another side of town, at least spend $10 in your own community.
Right.
Because if not, it's going to evaporate and dry up, and it's not going to be there.
You know what, Sam? You and I, we're going to come right back. And we're going to give them some solutions on what they can do this Black Friday or Small Business Saturday. We'll be right back with Caregivers and Community Connection. Welcome back to Caregivers and Community Connection. Today in the studio, we're still talking to Mr. Sam Terry, and we're talking about solutions, Sam. We already kind of hit on the problems, but we want to talk about the solutions. And by talking about the solutions on what people can do, they can go out and shop in a small business this coming Saturday and Friday too, if they like.
Yeah,
and you know, that's what I'm saying.
Not discouraging.
I got specials down at the Mocha at 511 Broad. And I also have a day that I'm giving all caregivers. If they want to go out and shop during the Christmas holiday, they just need a call, leave their name and number. I call them up, and I'm going to give them a free day at Sharon's Adult Day Center in Chattanooga and Cleveland. So they can go out and spend time with their friends. And maybe they have some, what is it that they normally have during the time of Christmas? Some nutmeg, or what is that?
Oh, nutmeg.
Yeah, that or
eggnog.
Eggnog.
That's what I think of. Eggnog.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it.
Has nutmeg in it.
Yeah, with
sometimes some other things too.
But you might need some. But anyway, but we want to give people an opportunity to go out, because sometimes caregivers don't get an opportunity to get that break, and we want to share that with them. And we'll be doing that up until December the 20th. So just call us up at 423-698-2611. Now, you talked about WNOO. And we've been having something that's been showing the whole time you and I have been on television today. Now, how can people see this as well as us today when it's showing all the people and all the things that you all do down at WNOO Glory 1260?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Sharon, because it kind of touched on things. And I want to say as well, thank you for giving the caregivers a day, because that's something, that's part of the give back, you know, what you're doing with the caregivers need that, because they got to have some me time as well. Of course, this is Family Caregivers Month, the month of November, when the awareness is, so it's important to do that. But just to help out a little bit for folks who might not understand radio, WNOO, when Mr. Clear came about the station, he turned it basically all gospel. And some folks will say, well, you know, it's all gospel, so I don't want to advertise over there, my dollar's not going to go as far and all that. Well, you got to have a little bit understanding of radio, period.
Right.
Because we offer so much more than just gospel music or churches. That is the majority, the bulk, yes, but you know, the programming, every radio station is going to have a morning show, midday, afternoon. Every station is not going to have a community awareness where they break away from the regular format every day like we do.
Right.
So you have a morning show. We have nationally syndicated Yolanda Adams morning show, which everyone's familiar with. Speaking of national syndication aspect, we have Empowering Moments that air throughout the day, different day parts with Bishop T.D. Jakes.
And I love that.
A lot of people do. We get a lot of good comments about that. Mid-morning inspiration with gospel legend in the city of Chattanooga, Sister Willie McClendon. Everybody knows her.
Oh, everybody.
She's doing the middays. And her and Sister M, the Yolanda Adams Morning Show co-host, and just a dear sister that fills in so many different hats, wears so many different hats at the station. They do a wrap-up. They call it Yolanda Adams Wrap-Up. And they talk about community issues as well, the latter part of Sister Willie's program. So then we have the gospel music. We have gospel churches, or churches I should say, that have broadcast periodically, basically all day Sunday, but throughout the week as well. But not only that,
Right.
we're still reaching the community. There's community programs with the your program,
Right.
with George Little Man Ricks, your community health talk. The city of Chattanooga, they have a program where they give information about
Yes,
the
you
city.
do.
So, you know, the list goes on and on from that perspective. Of course, community awareness, like we talked about earlier. Of course, great gospel music. But not just that, we also have, remember, WNO is now, it has been for some years now, 24 hours a day. It's not signing off like it did at one point. Plus, we're on the internet, streaming live 24/7 worldwide.
And how do you do that?
WNOradio.com or Glory1260.com.
Two? Oh, wow, I like that.
Two different ways. So, and of course, with it being the Heritage radio station, we have what we call Heritage Saturdays. You know, I host a blues and old school show on Saturday mornings, Sam T and Fam show. You get to go down memory lane a little bit. You get to hear some of the current Southern soul and blues artists that are still touring, which we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, you know, the importance of that. But we have the Hall of Fame show, 3 to 6, nothing but memories. Your wiggly walk down memory lane. People that listen to it, they just, oh wow, I remember that song. Oh, I remember that song. You know, it's like a high school reunion.
That's a throwback.
Big time. That's throwback.
Okay.
Sometimes. But we'll also hear from the youth with Youth Connection, where you get to hear from the mouths of the young folks themselves. You know, the issues that concern them, what's going on at school, at home, some of the peer pressures, hosted by the youth pastor at Olivet Baptist Church, Anthony Pollard, and Tori Clear, and a panel of youth that come in and do that program. So you're looking at a holistic thing, Holy Heat, with Lerone Jennings II, your neighborhood youth pastor, where you're reaching the young folk with gospel music that geared towards them to be able to really reach them. Because we get stuck in these generational things sometimes, I think.
Right.
And particularly when you're talking about getting the word of God out, we've got to think outside the box. Nothing wrong with tradition, but you don't want to be stuck in tradition.
Right.
So WNO is offering all these different things. So when you look at folks potentially advertising, it's not just church members. It's not just churches. Yes, that's the bulk of it, but you're reaching everybody. You're reaching the community. Now, remember you said earlier, I want to bring something down on a piece of paper so it can be announced. The EPB, they need their money for the light bill.
Right.
Mr. Clear's got to be the
do.
payroll. You know, it takes money to be a business. So that's why it's got to be commercials. We don't have an obligation, so to speak, to make announcements, but we do.
You all
We'll just have to do it periodically when we can work it in. I haven't heard my announcement. I sent an announcement in 3 weeks ago. We're going to work it in as soon as we can. Paid stuff has to go in first. That's what advertisement is. People pay for commercials or pay for what we call block programming. They're programs.
Now,
so that's a priority. But of course, we will work in what we can for the community when we can. But the community has got to understand that, you know, it's a business first. That's why I say business first.
Well, can you explain to
community, of course.
Explain to us a public service announcement. When do you utilize those? You're supposed to utilize those, I'm thinking, when you put them in spaces that you don't have any feelings for. But of course,
that's
you
one way to
won't
look at
pay.
it. That's
won't
one
pay
way to look at it.
advertisement.
But PSA basically would have to be a non-profit organization
Right.
too. And even with that said, there are not-for-profit organizations that do have promotional budgets or
Right.
advertising budgets. And that's why I get back to, I would never tell anyone that you shouldn't advertise with this media outlet or that media outlet, because you're advertising because you need to get the information out. If you have an event, you want people to come so it can be prosperous for you. So I would never tell you that. But if you're going to spend $100, $1,000 at a particular outlet, at least spend $10 with
Right.
any black-owned radio station in the city of Chattanooga that is truly committed to the community and reaching the community. Don't put all your advertising dollars in one area and forget about your heritage radio station.
On last week, one of the
And that
things
speaks
that I did.
to the small business owners.
Yeah, and that's true.
As well, not just radio.
And that's advertisement, period.
Period.
I did have an opportunity to talk about marketing on last week. And people don't understand why I market in different locations in different places. It's because everybody don't look or listen to the same thing.
Good
So
point.
just like you said, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I want to thank 802 Vision that's on the air with us right now, because it let me come to TV, Sam.
See?
And so I'm reaching a whole different range of people when we're talking about television as regards to radio, billboard, word of mouth, all these entities that we can use. Social media is big now. So
Utilize everything.
I mean, we
encourage
got
that.
to.
But don't forget about minority and small businesses.
And-
As you're utilizing all these other things, that's the point. Don't forget where you come from.
Yeah, so many people have a tendency to forget. And that's one thing that I try not to ever forget. The people that help me, then I want to be the person that help them. I mean, along the way. That's how we make it as a group of people, as a city, as a community.
Right.
And I think that's what you and I try to bring to the airways each and every week. Not so much about the negative, but how we can come up with solutions to the problem.
Prime example, not to cut you off when you talk about the marketing and expanding, mainstream print media, Times Free Press. Yes, utilize that, but you can never forget about the Chattanooga News Chronicle.
Oh no.
You got to utilize that as well, because if you don't, it'll end up fading away. Then, well, I need to get the word out to this segment of the population or this community. It's not there for you to do. So that's why we have to support. We have to support these small businesses and minority businesses.
And another thing, look at the multicultural chamber, how it evaporated and no longer is here. Even though we're supposed to have a place in the Chamber of Commerce, but a lot of times we find out about things after it happened, and we got to have someone at the table. So those are the things that we're talking about, and we're just asking the community this Friday, this Saturday, to please come out and support a small business in your neighborhood, in your community. And I think after that, people will be pleased. If we could get those numbers on that, Sam, I think that would be great if we were able to do that in the community, see what's out there. And hopefully you and I this week, we can have some people to call in before Thursday and Friday and Saturday to say what they got on sale in the community.
Yes,
how about that? I think we'll do that, you and I. And
well, Sharon, you look at the spending, the spending that goes on in the black community just by itself, the millions and billions of dollars. So, but they're not always going into the community. They're not going into the community that they're coming from, and that's what you got to look at. That's the bottom line. And real quick, before I forget, I just want to mention that I have to thank you again for you and your staff at Mocha Restaurant and Music Lounge. Bringing entertainment, a different type of vibe, if you will, when it comes to restaurant and all that. I also have a promotion company, Deep Blue Productions, that does promotion, a mobile DJ service and all that. And, we talked about doing some things which we are going to be doing in the very near future. I just wanted to get that in there and say thank you for your support and just encourage folks with that because with the Deep Blue Productions, it's another outreach. It's a business, yes. But it's a business that is community oriented, specializing in weddings and birthdays and reunions and, at affordable prices and specializing in old school and blues where we can have a good time without craziness and all that. and you can pass the word along. And that's what you do down at Mocha Restaurant Music Lounge. So I just want to say thank you for bringing that to the city.
And thank you for coming out this morning and talking with me in the community about all the things that you're doing. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you,
Thank
Sharon.
you for coming
Love you,
in.
my sister.
You're welcome.